गुड मॉर्निंग बे आप सभी लोग हमारे तरफ से एक प्यार भरा नमस्ते
नमस्कार
वनकम
नमस्कार
खुशामदीद
सलाम अलैकुम
सत श्री अकाल
मेघांदरी की वंदनम
जय स्वामी नारायण
जय श्री कृष्ण
जय जनेन्द्र
हमारे इस्माइली भाई बंधुओं को बोल दे या अली मदद
मौला अली मदद बोलते हुए सारे फीजी मतलब बोलेंगे नीसा मुला बरजान हम आ गए हैं आपके प्यारे महिमा के द्वारे मैं से फालतू बाबा
and of course myself फालतू रानी लेकर आपके लिए एक और ड्राइव टाइम that's going to make it totally exciting and totally mastani bandajani
to the Barajan, of course, right now without any further ado, a quick look at what's happening in the roads and the weather. Barajan, here you go. This is Raste Ka Haal, total Sastabing.
It's time for the Bandu Traffic Update. Call us from wherever you are at 408-912-2479.
That's right, Barajan. 408-912-2479. If at all I missed out any location, on the map where you are right now, you can give us a call, share with us for sure. Barajan, a quick look, a traffic accident with injuries on 92 getting on to Monterey Bay. Watch out for that, Barajan. It's actually a very sad accident over there. Speaking of the bridges and the shore part of it, there's a high wind advisory on 80 which just been levied out there on the bridge, but watch out for that. And speaking of the bridge again, 92 also there's a high wind advisory getting into the bridge as well, so watch out for those regions. San Jose, there's a report of an accident on 17 very close to 85 southbound Barajan at the Almond Expressway, which is slowing down traffic over there. Traffic ka volume, if you look at it, of course, still not as it was pre-COVID, but of course, traffic thoda bad rahi hai, to watch out for that. June 15, you guys do know that California is opening up, and as we shared yesterday, California is still asking you guys to make sure you maintain your mask and your physical distancing maintained. Though we actually have 75% of adults at least taking the first vaccination, it's still a long way to go for us to be able to get rid of this particular virus. And right now, let me tell you, it is the 428th day of our sheltering in place. I'll be keeping count all the way until June 15th and see how long we actually went into this particular shelter in place. But right now, let's go jump in and ask Fadwani, can you give us the news right now, Fadwani? How about that?
Absolutely, and in fact, Dr. Sarah Cody, who is the Santa Clara County's public health officer, Bandajan, has actually gone ahead and said that sheltering in place might end sooner.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Nice.
Tomorrow, our county is going to go into the yellow tier, this new health order, which is going to take effect tomorrow, a day after the county moves into the least restrictive yellow tier in the state's COVID-19 reopening guidelines. She says the big change from now on is two things: lifting the remote worker policy, and businesses no longer need to do and post social distancing protocols. She says the new county health order allows all businesses to resume in-person operations with some guidelines. It requires employers determine and report to the county's public health department the vaccination status of their employees within 14 days of resuming in-person operations, and it defines safety rules for employees who remain unvaccinated. So all employers are supposed to track vaccination status of their employees, and it continues to require that workplaces in schools report to the county when there is a COVID case. Now, if you're working for an employer and you do not want to disclose your vaccination status, that is okay, is what the county council James Williams says. But he says it will impact workplace safety guidelines, because that person, whoever does not want to disclose, right, will be considered as unvaccinated. So they want to be very, very clear that there is nothing in the health order that mandates vaccinations. The requirement is that they determine what people's vaccination status is, and then safety rules are put in place accordingly.
Well, I think it seems to be very, I think it's a kind of a very dangerous line they're treading. You know why?
Right.
Because it borderlines on the civil rights part of it, where you're actually treating some people who are not vaccinated as secondary citizens.
Hey.
So preference is given to people who have vaccination.
No, they're saying that if you don't want to reveal your status, you're going to be treated as somebody who is not vaccinated.
Exactly my point. It actually is a very, I don't know if people have raised this issue, but it seems to me like an issue where you say, okay, no, you people, because you're vaccinated, you're like first-day citizens, yay, come to job. If you don't, oh no, don't come to job, you know?
Well,
Why
is that
why-
not supposed to be the way it's supposed to be?
I don't know. There could be a better way of doing this. I don't know. I'm just trying to
Well,
say
I
that
don't know, Vanajan.
people will feel. See, whenever there's an opportunity, you can see the way it's going to be supporting people who are vaccinated, right? Without wanting to tell them, "Oh, you vaccinated yourself." They're trying to say, "Okay, no, you have to be vaccinated."
Yeah.
It's like anyway, I just my thought, Balajan. So I don't know about what you guys think, anyways.
Well, I want to backtrack on something that I said that we're moving into yellow tier tomorrow. No, we're actually moving into yellow tier. We're in yellow tier today. Santa Cruz and Santa Clara counties have moved into the yellow tier of the state's pandemic reopening system Tuesday, becoming the third and fourth counties in the Greater Bay Area to move into the least restrictive tier. The tier change has taken place as of 12:01 a.m. Today, and will enable both counties to expand indoor capacities for businesses like restaurants and gyms, and outdoor capacities for businesses like theme parks and large event venues. Bars in both counties will also be allowed to reopen indoors at 25% capacity or 100 people, whichever is fewer, without a requirement to serve meals with alcohol. So you could actually, if you want to find out what are the tier system, Banajan, you can go and check out on the governor's website where they talk about the blueprint to opening safe reopening. As I mentioned before, Santa Clara County businesses are now required to be tracking vaccination status of their employees who are coming back to office. So the shelter in place, stay at home, work from home order has been lifted as of tomorrow. So people can start going back to work is what they're saying. In terms of other local news, Banajan, there has been a demonstration. More than 1,000 people gathered Tuesday in San Francisco to protest the Israeli bombings of the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. The Free Palestine rally was held late Tuesday in front of the Israeli consulate. And also on northbound Highway 101, Manajan, a flooded roadway snarls traffic in San Jose. So standing water brought traffic on northbound Highway 101 to a halt early Wednesday morning, according to California Highway Patrol. The SIG alert was issued at about 4:45 a.m. for a crashed or stalled vehicle on the northbound Highway 101 connector to southbound Interstate 880 after it drove through a flooded section of the road, the CHP said. The two far right lanes of Highway 101 were blocked earlier this morning. In news from across the United States, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed to press on with operations against Gaza's Hamas militants after U.S. President Joe Biden urged him to seek a de-escalation on Wednesday in the 10-day conflict on the path to a ceasefire. An Egyptian security source said the two sides had agreed in principle to a ceasefire after help from mediators, although details were still being negotiated in secret and public denials of a deal to prevent it from collapsing. Israeli authorities have put the death toll at 12 in Israel, where repeated rocket attacks have caused panic and sent people rushing into shelters. Regional and US-led diplomatic efforts to secure a ceasefire have intensified but so far failed. Palestinian medical officials said that once fighting began, people had been killed in aerial bombardments that have destroyed roads, buildings, and other infrastructure and worsened the already dire humanitarian situation in Gaza. Locally, the United States Senate's minority leader, Mitch McConnell, is now opposing an independent commission to investigate the deadly Jan 6 Capitol insurrection that happened, which was brought in place by Donald Trump supporters. He set up a major roadblock by announcing his opposition to this particular proposal. Speaking on the Senate floor, McConnell said, "I have made the decision to oppose the House Democrats' slanted and unbalanced proposal for another commission to study the events of Jan 6th. Referring to existing congressional investigations and previous arrests of hundreds of people in connection with the riot, McConnell slammed the door on further negotiations on establishing an independent commission to investigate this matter. There will continue to be no shortage of robust investigations, McConnell said.
Yeah, the more money, the more taxpayer money going to all the lawyers.
Yeah.
Hey, imagine that quick look at right now. How about we just glance at what's happening around the world, Falguni?
Yes, we most definitely can, but I also want to share that the New York Attorney General's office has said on Tuesday that it has now opened a criminal investigation into former President Donald Trump's company, increasing the legal risk for Trump and his family. Letitia James, who's been investigating whether the Trump organization falsely reported property values to secure loans and obtain economic and tax benefits, made this announcement
Wasn't
yesterday.
that something which he himself had said they'd done it? They to get secure loans, they actually blew up the property value and everything. You don't know about that? Oh no, you didn't. Oh, there's a big report on that. Okay, good. That's wonderful, Badajan. That's it's a wonderful start to the world news. What's happening around the world, Fatwani?
Yeah, around the world, well, U.S. and Russian foreign ministers, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov are due to hold talks on Wednesday ahead of a possible presidential summit in June in an attempt to improve the dire relations between the former Cold War foes. The face-to-face talks on the sidelines of a gathering of 8 ministers in Reykjavik will be the highest level meeting since U.S. President Joe Biden took office in January. In news from India, Indian data is suggesting runaway COVID infections as deaths hit a daily record. Nearly 2/3 of people tested in India have shown an exposure to COVID-19, a chain of private laboratories said on Wednesday, indicating a runaway spread of the virus as the daily death toll rose to a record 4,529. India reported 267,334 new infections on Wednesday, taking its tally to 25.5 million, the world's second highest after the United States, with a death toll of 283,248, the health ministry data showed. For months, nowhere has been hit harder than India by this pandemic, Banajan, as a new variant discovered there fueled a surge of up to more than 400,000 new infections a day. There is a story about Times of India has done a news report about how Mumbai was better prepared than Delhi itself for the second wave of the pandemic, and how Mumbai was able to flatten the curve faster than Delhi in terms of the infections itself. And in terms of Maharashtra, Bandhujan, 34,031 new COVID-19 cases have been reported in the last 24 hours. The good news is that India's daily cases have continued to fall on Wednesday. As I mentioned before, the total was 267,334 COVID-19 cases. Unregulated drug use, unhygienic lifestyle have helped spread something called mucormycosis in COVID-19 patients. You remember?
The black thing, right?
The black fungus, exactly. Though basically known to be a hospital-acquired fungal disease, this particular mucormycosis has also affected COVID patients undergoing treatment at home. This has been attributed to various reasons, including unregulated drug use and lack of blood sugar surveillance during home isolation. Several medical experts are saying that many COVID patients and their relatives resorted to various experiments with drugs based on messages on social media, unscientifically shared prescriptions, and also suggestions from unqualified doctors, which has had a detrimental effect on their health. And finally, in some good news, for Indian firms or Indian employees, interim final rule has tightened H-1B eligibility norms, which formerly removed has now been removed from the legal code. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security, which has now removed an interim final rule issued last October under the Trump regime from the Code of Federal Regulations. While this rule was to come into effect from December 7th last year, it was quashed by a district court. Thus, while the rule never took effect, a notice was issued by DHS formally rescinding this final rule and reinstating the long-standing H-1B eligibility criteria. So more on all of this you will find on our MediaMahima.com, or you can go to our YouTube channel Banjan to catch up on the news updates. But here is the Gaane Ka Keeda for you today. It's a beautiful song from the movie
Jawani Jane Man.
With this song, we're going to leave you today, but we'll see you tonight live at 5 on the Pam Pam Show. Have yourselves a wonderful Wednesday.
That's a Banjan song, which actually is sung by Yasser Desai, lyrics by Devesh Khanduri, and music by Gaurav Roshan.